A Bob Ross Appreciation Society was put together with 5 paintings from 5 different owners on the Roadshow. Bob Ross's paintings never come up for auctions because of the emotional connections people have with them. One of the owners revealed that her Bob Ross painting was purchased from Quonset hut sale in the 90s for $5. The painting was hung on the wall in her new home for about 10 years. When she watched a show on PBS, The Joy of Painting, she saw a Bob Ross painting and realized it was familiar with hers. This proud owner loves Bob Ross's work, especially for his happy clouds, and even has Bob Ross socks on. If only Bob Ross's painting came up for auction, it would sell in the range of.
Bob Ross paintings like this would sell in the $15,000 to $25,000 range.
Oh my gosh.
Because I didn't even know that either. Yeah, both things. I think that's going to happen.
The guest purchased this Alaska gold and mammoth ivory inlaid with diamonds from an auction for about $5,700. It is a belt buckle that is a bit too large, and it has 5 ounces of gold, which is a substantial amount of gold. The nuggets are soldered into a base of gold. The embellishment is like that of a twist wire, and there is the mastodon tusk, or possibly a mammoth tusk. However, all other elements are from Alaska, except the diamonds and the beautifully executed frame, which has a nice shape. The engraving on the corners are equally as beautiful, and Alaskan gold is around 90% pure or 22 carats. Furthermore, the gold was discovered in Alaska early in the Kenai River area in 1849 by the Russians, but the real discovery was in 1896, Klondike, and that was when the gold rush started. This Alaska gold belt buckle has been in existence since the 1970s. At the right auction, this large Alaskan gold belt buckle would be worth around.
I think something like this could be $20,000 to $40,000.
Mm-hmm. That's a little more than I was thinking.
There's something about it, right?
Well, that's for sure.
Here is a photograph of young Muhammad Ali, who was initially known as Cassius Clay, a 1962 fight ticket and a piece of cloth signed by Cassius Clay to Eleanor. The guest was one of the persons in the photo, as she was invited to the fight alongside her friend and met with Cassius Clay. She met Cassius through a photographer, Howard Bingham, who later became his lifetime photographer. Moreover, the napkin was signed by Cassius, Billy Stephan, Archie Moore, and inscribed on the other side by his brother, Rudolph. When he was Cassius Clay, he won a gold medal in Rome and continued in his professional career between 1960 to 1964. And by 1964, he won the heavyweight title, knocking out Sonny Liston. Then he converted to Islam and became Muhammad Ali. And between 1967 to 1970, he lost his boxing license. However, there was a great comeback when he re-established himself as heavyweight champion with the trilogy against Joe Frazier and George Foreman, and later became a humanitarian. The value of autographs is in the historical importance and rarity, and though Muhammad Ali signed as Ali from 1964 till his death, which is common, he signed as Cassius in 1960 to 1964, which is rare. Although there are fakes and forgeries, these items have a provenance on it, and the auction estimate would be.
So we have no issue here in regards to that. You have perfect provenance. We have you. I would put an auction estimate for $3,000 to $5,000.
With him. I'm kind of a devotee. I watch you every week on the Antiques Roadshow, so thank you.
This collection was her grandfather's, who loved taking pictures of beautiful women. So, when Playboy came out, he acquired all the magazines. They are the first 12 issues of Playboy, and the first issue is one with Marilyn Monroe, issued in 1953, and editions were made in 1954. These issues came to be when an enterprising man called Hefner, who worked for Esquire magazine, decided to start this magazine for men, and he borrowed $1,000 from his mother to start the magazine in Chicago. Not only are the illustrations valuable, the articles and writings of great American writers published in this publication are also valuable. There's the first publication of Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, which is one of the most important works of post-war literature, and there is Kerouac Kurt Vonnegut's Ian Fleming, who also wrote James Bond. Also, the Playboy logo of the popular bunny was an art added to the first issue and continued as it is seen on the cover of the 5th issue done in 1954. It is not uncommon to find this collection on auction because there are 50,000 copies that were made for the first issue alone, but the condition matters. In perfect condition, this collection would be worth $6,000 to $7,000, but this one is in poor condition due to the age, hence its worth.
For a set in this condition, I would estimate at auction that I would have an estimate of $2,500 to $3,500.
Today's guest brought a collection of World War I medals, which he hopes to sell at auction. These medals were awarded to James Rowland, who served in the 5th Dorsetshire Battalion during World War I. He was tragically killed during a flying demonstration that resulted in the deaths of 24 people.
But it was Sloggett that found out how he won the Military Cross, a very brave man in the First World War.
Sure, yeah. Survived that and then got killed in 1942, rather tragically.
The bidding for this collection of medals began at a starting price of.
And we're opening the bidding here at £800. At 800, the lowest we can start.
As the auction progressed, the bidding became even more intense, as additional participants joined via telephone. We can see the guest eagerly anticipating the final price of this collection. The competition grew fiercer as bidders continued their offers for the medals. Finally, the auction value of this World War I memorabilia was set at.
It's on £2,000 and selling £2,000.
Yes, what a great result.
In the mid-1940s, a K Company archtop guitar was crafted in Chicago, Illinois. It became part of a World War II soldier's life, gifted to him by Special Services. Decades later, in the late 1960s, the soldier began collecting autographs from music stars on the guitar, enhancing its visual appeal. The guitar's tooled leather design adds to its charm.
And everybody assumes that the leather is going to mute the sound quite a bit, but I think it still sounds pretty good.
Its true value, however, lies in the signatures of country music legends, such as Mel Tillis, Hank Thompson, Connie Smith, Red Foley, Loretta Lynn, and Dolly Parton, which adorn its surface. Without its embellishments, the guitar itself would be a modest $300 to $350 instrument. However, the leatherwork and the autographs significantly raise its value, making it a prized collectible. Today, this stunning archtop guitar is valued at around.
I would put it more in the range of a collectible worth about $1,000.
I understand.
In 1945, a couple received a painting by Pène du Bois as a wedding gift from the artist himself. This piece, featuring Stephanie, was a constant presence in their home, captivating the guest. Rendered in oil on paper, the painting shows buckling from the heavy pigment typical of Du Bois' medium. Pène du Bois was not only an artist but also a critic, following in his father's footsteps. He trained under William Merritt Chase and Henry, who shaped the social realist aspect of his work. After 6 years in Paris, Du Bois returned to the US in 1930, making this painting likely from that period. A photograph with the painting, showcasing the guest's mother, and possibly Pène du Bois, enriches its history. At auction, the painting is estimated to be worth.
I would set the value at $6,000 to $8,000.
Oh, nice. Great. Thank you.
Originally mistaken for cubic zirconia in silver, this ring captivated the guest with its exceptional brilliance. Echoing 1920s or 1930s design, the setting increases the light's effect, making the stone seem larger as a group. Hallmarks were discovered on the shank after a detailed microscope inspection. Further investigation was initialed due to the French doghead platinum mark found on the item. Online research showed that France started using the doghead hallmark around 1912. This suggests that the piece is likely set in platinum rather than silver.
Why would someone put cubic zirconia in possibly a platinum setting?
What looks like one large diamond is a 1.5 carat central stone enriched by multiple smaller trapezoidal diamonds. Based on the ring's genuine diamonds and estimated carat weight, its retail value is expected to be.
I would say conservative selling price would be in the $25,000 to $30,000 price range.
Amazing. I am shocked and happy. This is great.
A serendipitous garage find yielded a collection of items once owned by a silent screen star, Clara Bow, for just $26. Among these treasures, a standout item is a Cartier Art Deco purse watch. Adorned with Clara Bow's name and original Cartier registration numbers, this exquisite piece exudes timeless elegance. This elegant timepiece features intricate enamel work and opens and closes with precision. Additionally, the collection includes an anklet gifted to Clara Bow by Warren Burke, bearing her initials and his name. Inside the watch was a note from Daniel Freeman to Clara Bow on her 22nd birthday, July 29, 1928. February 10, 1929, the note adds a poignant personal touch, expressing deep affection and sorrow.
So we just discovered just now that he stole these items from Clara Bow.
With its significant historic and cinematic value, the assemblage of memorabilia is estimated to be worth,
I would say, in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $4,000 for the whole series.
Wow. Whoa.
I think it's really wonderful.
A cherished family heirloom, this pear-shaped sugar bowl is a finely crafted piece of American colonial silver. This exquisite wedding gift from a beloved aunt features a mysterious, partially deciphered coat of arms. Research revealed a connection to the Avery family on the female side, with the other half of the coat of arms still unidentified. Excitingly, this sugar bowl dates back to the Revolutionary War era and was created by the renowned silversmith Paul Revere. A distinctive riv mark on the bottom and the documented pear shape confirm its authenticity. However, the bowl's top, while the correct shape, is a later replacement, differing slightly from the original unadorned lid. Years ago, an appraisal estimated its value at $12,000 to $15,000 if the top had been original.
If the top was original, the one that sold in 2010 brought $58,000.
Oh my word.
Despite the replacement lid, the bowl's value remains substantial, with an auction estimate now placed between.
I would place an auction estimate of $10,000 to $20,000 on it.
Years ago, a couple was gifted a fascinating music box passed down through the family. Among the antiques, old clocks and music boxes in their home, this piece particularly captivated one of the children. This music box was crafted by an individual rather than a factory. It likely hails from the Tyrol region, known for its tradition of making cuckoo clocks, music boxes, and other carvings. This charming music box features an authentic chalet design with logs, a hatchet, wooden shoes, and beehives, all beautifully handmade. Hidden in the base of the music box is a high-quality bellows action movement that produces a deep, rich tone when played.
And inside, as you would expect, it's beautifully lined to function as a jewel box.
Despite being handmade, its craftsmanship rivals commercial pieces, showcasing the artisan's skill. Today, this charming music box, with its unique history and exquisite detail, would be valued between
$1,000 and $1,500.
All right. Yes.
Nice object.
Thank you.
A vintage Dewey Weber longboard from the 1960s was acquired by the guest through a trade with a roommate. In 1987 or 1988, the longboard was acquired from a roommate who owed a utility deposit. A $50 trade allowed the owner, a passionate surfer, to enjoy the board for many years. As the years went by, the board's unique full paisley top and rare mid-60s pattern started to stand out. With its distinctive design, it became clear that this surfboard was a true collectible, deserving of preservation.
I surfed it for a long time, and then finally all my surfing buddies convinced me that it should go hang up on the wall.
Dewey Weber, a notable figure in surfboard history, produced this design in limited quantities, making it especially valuable. Despite being used extensively, the board remains in relatively good condition. Its rarity and distinctive pattern contribute to its high value, estimated between.
Yeah, if I were going to put a value on it, I'd insure it for at least $1,500.
Great.
And might even $2,000.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you.
2 volumes of a journal with considerable historical significance to the US are on display today. The guest is a direct descendant of the original author, and these volumes have been a family treasure for generations. According to the title page, this journal documents a voyage on the United States ship Peacock as part of the South Sea surveying and exploring expedition. William Hudson, the Peacock's commander, authored this journal, operating under Charles Wilkes' command during the United States exploring expeditions from 1838 to 1842. This expedition was one of the most extensive ever undertaken by the United States and a pioneering effort by the US Navy.
Now, your ancestor was a prominent member of the crew, and he kept this journal, which you can see is incredibly detailed.
The expedition's primary objective was to explore the Pacific Ocean and conduct surveys to support the whaling and sealing industries.
It explored 280 islands in the Pacific.
Goodness.
It explored 800 miles of the Oregon coast.
A particularly fascinating aspect is the voyage from Australia to Antarctica.
You see the beginnings of the journey from Port Jackson, Australia, into the southern waters, which got quite cold, as you can imagine. These next few pages are amazingly detailed in their discussion of the icebergs and the flows.
It's an extraordinary first-hand account in manuscript, which is highly prized and would be valued at.
I would estimate it for auction at $15,000 to $20,000. For insurance purposes, I would suggest a figure of $30,000.
Thank you so much. In 10 sentences, you've told me more than I've ever known about this.
Oh, that's terrific.
Featured here are two stunning works of art. These paintings were created by Mabel Pearl Fraser, the great-aunt of the guest's husband. Mabel Pearl Fraser was a talented American artist from Utah, known for her captivating paintings and artistic legacy.
She taught at the University of Utah for 33 years in their art department.
She was a very prolific artist.
Yes.
Remarkably, she excelled in a time when women faced significant barriers to showcasing their artistic talents. She possesses a unique artistic voice, characterized by a stunning sense of color.
And there are very, very modernist tendencies in her work, the way she's kind of abandoned a realistic way of depicting something for these flattened kind of planes. And
this painting has a dreamlike quality to it. The painting is indeed a masterpiece of dramatic expression. With the rising popularity of female artists from this period, these outstanding works could fetch
between $5,000 and $7,000 on the larger of the pictures, and perhaps $3,000 to $4,000 or $3,000 to $5,000 on this one.
We're presented with a painting that is both captivating and beautiful. The guest acquired it from none other than the artist himself, Forrest Bess, who was also a close friend.
In '62, he lived at a bait camp where he sold bait fish for fishing down in Chinquapin, Texas.
Forrest Bess was an American painter and artist known for his unique and innovative style, which blends elements of surrealism, abstract expressionism, and visionary art. He is best known for his bold, symbolic, and dreamlike paintings that explored themes of nature, spirituality, and the human condition.
He painted his dreams, and this is one of his dreams.
He was known as a modernist, and his work is somewhat rare.
Notably, he was largely self-taught, receiving guidance from a neighbor who lived nearby.
He went to college in Texas, and he didn't study art. He studied Greek mythology, English, and also Darwin and Freud, who came to be important to him.
The back of the painting features a gallery label from Betty Parsons, including the sale price. Today, Forrest Bess is considered one of the most important American artists of the 20th century, and his work is held in high esteem by collectors, curators, and art historians.
During the day, he'd take naps, and you'd see him wake up, and he'd write something in the book and go back to sleep. And then he would take that and put it on canvas.
As a modernist masterpiece, works like this are highly sought after, and this stunning piece would be valued at.
I believe the price would be in the range of $75,000.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
A Louis Sullivan grill from the Stock Exchange building in Chicago is a standout piece of American architectural history. Designed by Louis Sullivan, this elevator grill was a key feature on every floor of the Stock Exchange building before its demolition in 1972.
We have a photograph of one of the floors. This was on every floor, and this was above the door. We have it in this photo, a similar one, but not this identical one.
The grill's intricate design showcases Sullivan's groundbreaking approach to modernism. Its motifs, reminiscent of wheat seeds, reflect the building's connection to commodity exchanges. It was acquired when a salvage company sold off pieces from the demolished building. Bought for just $5, the grill was recognized for its significant historical and architectural value. Crafted by the Winslow Company in Chicago, this piece is an exceptional example of early American modernist design. In a retail setting, its value is estimated to be between.
In a retail setting, I think this piece by itself would probably be in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
Really?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
An intricately woven Imperial Chinese scroll, nearly 25 feet long when fully unrolled, features a tapestry of exceptional quality. Crafted using the intricate Casey technique, This scroll displays a rich tapestry of vibrant colors. Elaborate designs featuring dragons, clouds, and phoenixes are woven with gold thread, adding a touch of grandeur. This scroll includes Manchu and Mongolian inscriptions with imperial seals, marking it as an official document. Acquired in the 1970s by the mother-in-law of the guest, it was initially bought as an investment, an imperial proclamation from the early Jiaqing Emperor's reign, circa 1795 to 1796.
The value partially depends on who that person was that received the award that was recognized by the emperor.
The scroll honors an individual's achievements. Though slightly discolored from previous exposure, its historical and artistic value remains high. At auction, this scroll could be valued between,
I would say a conservative figure would be $6,000 to $8,000 at auction.
Wow.
If it's sold for $20,000, would I be surprised? Absolutely not.
Wow.
A set of Kimon porcelain with delicate enamels on cream was bought about 40 years ago in Kyoto. This type of porcelain, known for its refined patterns, was originally used in kaiseki dinners in Japan. Producing intricate details since the 17th century, the Kimon family greatly influenced European porcelain like mason. This collection comprises a harmonious quartet of ornate plates and a matching set of exquisite bowls.
Right. Actually, 4 is not an auspicious number in Japanese. The character is actually a synonym with something that means death.
Although they were bought in a set, the plates date from the mid-19th century. From the mid-18th century, the bowls showcase more elaborate decorations and finer enamel work. A decade ago, these pieces were valued at $1,000 to $1,500 each, but now their value is somewhat lower. At an auction, the entire collection could now bring between.
The entire collection would now bring, at auction, about $2,500 to $4,000. Okay. A little bit more than you paid for them, I think.
A Bobby Orr hockey card featuring one of the greatest defensemen was found in a collection around 1980. This Topps card, part of a 1966 test set, was produced to gauge interest in hockey cards in the American market. Hockey, a cherished tradition north of the border, had long been embedded into the Canadian cultural fabric. Expansion into the US prompted this trial run to see if American collectors would embrace the sport. Acquired through flea market trading, this card was not intentionally purchased but ended up in the collector's possession. This card holds exceptional value as it captures a pivotal moment in hockey history. Featuring one of the sport's most iconic figures, it embodies the essence of a legendary era.
Now, when you look at your card, it's got a little off-centering, but the corners are regularly nice. There's a little bit of a crimp in one corner.
With professional grading, depending on its condition, its value could range from.
It's going to sell somewhere in the $5,000 to $8,000 range. Nice.
A collection of 1960s Spider-Man comics, issues 13 through 29, is notably preserved and historically significant. Key issues include the first appearances of Mysterio, issue 13, The Green Goblin, issue 14, and Kraven the Hunter, issue 15. These characters have become iconic through their appearances in the comics. Their fame skyrocketed further with memorable portrayals in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Collected by a devoted fan since childhood, these comics were acquired directly from newsstands, often buying duplicates to ensure that one copy remained pristine. The collector meticulously preserved them. This dedication produced a collection of high-quality, near-mint comics notable for their age and rarity.
In order to maximize your value, comic books are not child's play today.
Yes, they're not.
They are serious financial investments.
The collection's value is substantial, with current estimates ranging between.
Conservatively, at auction, they would be $20,000 to $25,000.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I had no idea.
The guest presented a painting by J.F. Herring Sr., a family heirloom for 45 years. John Frederick Herring Sr., born in 1795, was a painter, sign maker, and coachman in Victorian England. The artwork was acquired at an auction in Newport, Rhode Island, sparking a long-standing appreciation for Herring's work. Herring's oeuvre typically featured horses, but this painting stood out with its depiction of ducks. Signed and dated 1851, the painting showcased Herring's skill on board. Minor paint losses were noted, but the appraiser deemed them easily restorable.
I went to Middleburg, Virginia, and I dropped into this shop that's all he had sold was herrings. And he said he'd give me about $5,000 for it, sight unseen.
That offer now seems modest, Given the painting's current value, a testament to Herring's enduring legacy, in today's market, this painting was priced at
$30,000 to $35,000.
That's great. That's great. I suspected it was worth something.
The guest had a chance encounter with Andy Warhol in a nightclub, leading to a friendship and several signed pieces. Andy Warhol, born as Andrew Warholer Jr. in 1928, and was an American visual artist, film director, and producer. A leading figure in the pop art movement, Warhol is considered one of the most important American artists of the second half of the 20th century. Warhol's studio was a hub of creativity where the guests visited with their family. A print purchased for $125 became a valuable treasure with Warhol's signature and dedication on the back. The guest's collection also includes interview magazines featuring Warhol's humorous annotations and sketches. One magazine boasts a meow signature for Robin Williams, while another has a playful jab at Molly Ringwald. Warhol's signature style was to sign only the back of his pieces, never the front. The collection had 6 soup cans in total, having an iconic status, and most of them were signed twice. Warhol's legacy as a master of pop art continues to captivate audiences, with the guest's collection serving as a testament to his enduring appeal, being appraised at
I would estimate the individual cans at $1,500 to $2,000 a piece.
Nice.
Yeah. So you got 6 of them there.
This
not
expensive
bad.
can of soup, very nice.
Absolutely.
Good.
The interview magazines are great. And what's really nice is that he did the little extra touches. He signed a lot, but he didn't always do the extra touches. I would estimate those at $1,000 to $1,500 a piece.
Shut up.
Not at all. Now, this one's great. What really makes this print spectacular is the color. Really pops. This is actually from the late 60s. And of course you have the wonderful dedication on the back. A conservative estimate at auction would probably be about $15,000 to $20,000.
No! Mom, did you hear that? We're going to Acapulco for the weekend.
The guest received a painting as a housewarming gift from his girlfriend's father, who had purchased it from a private seller.
He purchased it in December, I guess, from a man who purchased it from the widow of a man who bought it in the late 50s, here in Milwaukee, actually.
So it's been in Milwaukee since the late 1950s?
Yes.
George Vicat Cole, the artist, was a renowned English landscape painter of the 19th century. His idyllic depictions of rural England are highly sought after for their nostalgic charm. The painting featured a serene haying scene, typical of Cole's work. A distinctive red signature and date, 1880, adorned the bottom of the canvas. A label on the reverse side revealed the painting's provenance, tracing back to Frost and Reed Gallery in London.
And it's usually a pretty good indication that you're going to see a kind of nice English picture when you see that label, because they're a very good gallery.
The appraiser was impressed by the painting's condition and rarity, considering its age. Given its excellent state and historical significance, the appraiser estimated the painting's value at.
Can I ask how much your girlfriend's father paid for the picture?
About $250.
Okay. I think he made a very good buy, because in fact at auction I think today this picture would probably sell for between $4,000 and $6,000.
Excellent.
Not a bad investment, a few $100s, and a very nice housewarming present, I must say.
The guest brought in a dress and moccasins worn by her great-great-aunt, Ruth Muskrat Bronson, a civil rights activist, author, poet, and educator. This dress and moccasins were worn by Ruth Muskrat Bronson. To meet President Calvin Coolidge in 1923,
this is my Aunt Ruth, and this is President Calvin Coolidge. And this is a book that she presented to him that day, and she also gave a speech that day.
Ruth's speech was highlighted as very important by the appraiser, along with her meeting with President Coolidge.
She's asking for what we consider basic human rights in this country today in the 20s. And after that, you get the Depression and things really got bleak.
Cheyenne beadworkers crafted this dress and moccasins in Oklahoma. It was made of brain-tanned deerskin, a high-priced and difficult material to work with. The moccasins featured intricate beadwork and a distinctive welt between the sole and beaded uppers. Both the dress and moccasins were intentionally created to represent a pan-culture of Native American tribes. Considering their age, they were in excellent condition. The appraiser noted the significance of the dress and moccasins as cultural and historical artifacts, being valued at.
If you were to bring these up For insurance, it gets more like $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow. And these things are priceless to our family.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Their mother got the piece directly from the Eskimos while in Goose Bay. These rugs were part of Sir Wilfrid Grenfell's initiative to teach local women's craft skills. This 1915 Grenfell rug is a unique piece from Newfoundland, crafted by local women. It depicts northern life, with ships, Inuit figures, and wildlife. They were made from recycled fabrics, hooked or sewn onto burlap or linen, stockings turned into white fabric for art. It blends missionary zeal, cultural preservation, and early 20th century Labrador's harsh realities, echoing a bygone era. The appraiser valued the item.
Probably would be in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow. Well, that is amazing. I'll treasure it even more now.
In New York, he saw a unique tapestry in a rug shop that captivated him instantly. This tapestry showcases intricate, vibrant Portuguese needlework. The tapestry features a central floral medallion, ornate scrollwork, and colorful textured borders. This intriguing technique reveals a rare ancient art form.
And this is what we call long arm cross stitch. One of the reasons that it's so unusual in the drawing of the design is because it's very old.
This piece, likely used on the floor, shows only slight central wear despite its excellent condition.
And it would never be now. But the dyes have stayed true, they're natural dyes.
The vibrant colors and intact stitching, after 2 centuries, highlight the tapestry's quality and care. It embodies the period's elegance and remains a stunning example of historical textile art. Its timeless elegance and rich history were reflected in the appraisal value.
Good. I think in today's market it would sell for about $20,000.
Wow.
It's just a glorious piece.
Well, thank you.
The guest presented a collection of artwork and letters by the renowned artist, Lyonel Feininger. Feininger had a personal connection with the guest's family. The guest shared a poignant letter Feininger had written to his parents shortly after her birth. One of the artworks was a birth gift that Feininger had personally delivered to the guest's family. Another piece included a woodcut with hand coloring, and one inherited by the guest from her grandmother. The appraiser highlighted Feininger's connection to modernist movements, especially in Germany. The artist left Germany due to a hostile environment and lived in the US until his death.
Like many artists in the 30s in Germany who were involved with the modernist movement, were tarred by Hitler as what they called degenerate artists, Untartet Kunst. And as a result of the environment in Germany, that's why he left and came over to the States.
Among the artworks presented, the appraiser noted a seascape that showed Cubist influence in its composition. Another piece was a watercolor with ink from Feininger's Ghosties series. The woodcut piece, which had been hand-colored by Feininger, was also considered remarkable. The collection was deemed highly valuable because of its personal connection and its provenance. The guest expressed amazement at the appraisal.
And so all in all, it's going to be $40,000 to $60,000.
Wow, that's fabulous. Thank you very much.
A guest brought in a porcelain doll that had belonged to his mother, a doll maker and collector. Despite growing up surrounded by doll-making supplies, the guest admitted he wasn't very interested. The appraiser confirmed that the doll was a valuable antique made by Leon Casimir Bru.
And he made the finest dolls, and he was very proud of his dolls.
This type of doll, known as the circle dot Bru, was identified by a small circle marking on the back of its neck. Bru dolls were renowned for their high quality and had won awards at expositions. The doll featured glass paperweight eyes, along with finely painted eyelashes, mauve eyeshadow, and a sweet, slightly open mouth. It also had plump, rosy cheeks and was made of bisque, with a bisque shoulder plate, head, and hands. The appraiser noted that it had a kid body and an original mohair wig. The doll was redressed in period-appropriate clothing and antique shoes, though neither were original. Given the desirability and condition of the item, the appraiser suggested a value of.
On today's market, she would retail for around $12,000 to $14,000.
Wow. The guest showcased a lithograph that had been purchased by her father in the 1950s. The piece was created by Thomas Hart Benton, a Missouri artist known for his regionalist style. The appraiser provided background details about the artist. Benton used curvilinear lines in his work, creating an undulating effect where the figures, sky, and landscape seemed interconnected. Additionally, the artist employed bold colors and dynamic scenes to tell stories about common people. The lithograph, titled Island Hay, was printed in 1945, with exactly 250 copies made. Benton did not number his prints, so it was unclear which specific print this one was in the series. However, the piece was signed by Benton in pencil, adding to its authenticity and value. Given the condition and desirability, the appraised value for the piece was,
at auction, today is worth around $2,000 to $3,000.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
The guest's details and his father's pivotal role in creating Robert Smithson's spiral jetty. His father, a construction worker, was the only contractor willing to take on Smithson's ambitious project.
Apparently 4 or 5 different contractors passed on the job because they didn't want to take their equipment out to the Great Salt Lake for fear of damaging it.
Along with the guests are contracts and sketches that birthed the spiral jetty.
What we have here is the contract that your father had with Smithson.
A drought that occurred later on transformed the spiral jetty into its present artistic pilgrimage site. Sadly for Smithson, his life was cut short via a plane crash just 3 years after completing this masterpiece. Nevertheless, the guest's father's artistic vision and real-world construction was instrumental in creating the site. Each sketch tells a part of the spiral jetty story. Amazingly, the spiral jetty is now an iconic work of land art, known worldwide. Each document of this collection contributes to its worth, and now it's valued at.
So the collection altogether is $47,500.
The guest today uncovered her late brother's collection of 47 iconic 1960s concert posters.
As an early teenager, he used to send money for postage to Bill Graham and the Fillmore West, and they'd send him a poster in the mail.
These posters were rescued from beneath their mother's bed. The brother's passion for music led him to mail order these posters. There's a Jimi Hendrix Flying Eyeball poster from 1968 that stands out as a true gem.
With art by Rick Griffin, and it is just the peak of 60s psychedelic art. This is among one of the most desirable collectible rock posters.
Another Hendrix poster and a Grateful Dead New York debut poster also adds to the collection's value. Every pinhole and tear in these posters tell a story. The collection spans a pivotal moment in rock history, capturing legendary performers. Poster art from this era has become highly sought after by collectors. These posters, once adorning a teenager's walls, are now valued at between
$20,000 and $35,000.
Wow. That's great. Oh my goodness.
Today's guest fell in love with Howard Finster's visionary art. Born in 1916, Finster experienced his first otherworldly vision at age 3. He then proceeded to build Paradise Garden, a wonderland of oddball buildings near Summersville, Georgia. Typical of Finster's works, boards, mirrors, and plexiglass burst with life, every inch pulsating with energy. There's also the Tree of Life that stretches skyward, surrounded by happy clouds and Finster's meticulous numbering.
And then, of course, scattered throughout are keys to Finster's work.
So instead of just writing the number at 3,524.
The reason for the numbering was because Finster had received a vision that he was to make 5,000 works of art. This particular Finster piece, once bought on installment, is now a valuable treasure. In the right auction setting, this artwork would be valued between,
I think this would probably bring between $15,000 and $25,000.
Really? That's great.
Absolutely.
Great. Good for Howard. I knew it was very special when I saw it.
The guest presented a set of pens that belonged to her husband. As an avid collector, her husband had accumulated these over 25 to 30 years ago. The pens were made by the Waterman Company, a renowned manufacturer of high-quality writing instruments since 1884. This specific set was a gift from Amelia Earhart to her husband, George Putnam, in 1932. The appraiser explained that May 20th, 1932 was significant historically. It marked the day Amelia Earhart became the first woman to complete a solo transatlantic flight. One of the pens, a fountain pen, was notably engraved with an image of Earhart's plane and the figure of Neptune, the god of the seas. The appraiser also provided background on Amelia Earhart and George Putnam's lives.
She met George, who was a publisher at the time. He published the Charles Lindbergh book, We. and he was looking for a woman aviator, and he certainly found one.
Yes.
He tried to propose to her 6 times before she finally accepted.
The 14-karat gold pens were valued highly because of their association with Amelia Earhart. Originally bought for $300, the value decided for the set was
Would bring between $15,000 and $20,000.
My.
When the guest revealed the object on display by removing its quilted covering, the appraiser was stunned. The tablecloth is a rare flame-stitched piece created in 1761 by a relative of the guest and passed down to him from his mother. On the top, it is inscribed, "This tablecloth was made by Elizabeth Van Deursen in 1761.
There's another inscription that says, "How vain are all these worldly pleasures. Created beauty cannot last. Time diminishes at leisure."
This piece exemplifies a classic center panel frame stitch design, commonly found in both English and American needlework traditions. Elizabeth's proficiency in needlework is evident in the consistent expertise shown throughout this piece. The flame stitch panel features a repeating design, with colors sourced from nature through vegetable dyes, which are notoriously prone to fading. Carnation blossoms rendered in a stylized form border the flame patterns. In the realm of American needlework, this piece is a true rarity, with an estimated value of.
So at auction, I would estimate its value between $30,000 and $50,000. It's very special.
A superb tribal artifact is presented here. This piece has been in the guest's family since their grandfather bought it in the 1920s.
He found it in a store while he was working up in Canada back then. He was in the import-export business.
It is a miniature totem pole, skillfully carved from argillite.
A soft stone, when quarried, found only on the Queen Charlotte Islands, mined and quarried only by the Haida. They're the only ones who were permitted to use it.
While reminiscent of Charles Edenshaw's style, this piece is not his work. This piece is attributed to Zacharias Nicholas, an artist within Charles Edenshaw's inner circle. Originally, this pole may have stood 20 to 30 feet tall in a village setting.
It's possible this came from a village, Tanu, and the pole that it's replicating was Easy to Enter House. Is the name of the council house.
Really?
A diverse array of legendary creatures adorn the pole, featuring bone teeth inlays and impressive sculptural work. Its estimated value is
would approach $100,000.
Oh, okay. Really?
If you were to insure this, I think you could very legitimately appraise this for $125,000.
That's amazing.
Today's guest brings a magic card. The card is owned by her husband, who played in tournaments with his friends in the 90s.
But then I think he wanted to have a complete set, and so he would buy individual packs at the store, and until he was able to put together a complete set.
However, the magic card, the card we have here, was created in 1993 by Richard Garfield in collaboration with Wizards of the Coast. When the magic card was released, it was part of the first Alpha Limited set, consisting of 295 cards.
And then there was a second reissue called the Beta Limited set, in which you have here all cards for the Beta set, which was limited to 302 cards.
Furthermore, the set included the Power 9, named because they were among the most powerful cards in the Magic world. The Power 9 are only allowed in vintage tournaments and cannot be played in regular decks. The Magic card features a black border with rounded corners and some white dots on the image, indicating it was printed in 1993. Considering the card history and importance, the card's cumulative value is estimated to be.
You're looking at auction between $65,000 and $100,000 in trading cards here.
Gosh.
They're all early 1993 Beta cards. You're looking at an additional $10,000 to $15,000.
Exhibited on today's show are 3 portraits. The guest was the White House photographer for President John F. Kennedy, a figure deeply intertwined with history. He was often referred to as JFK and was an American politician who served as the 35th President of the United States from 1961 until his assassination in 1963. One of the photographs is the only picture taken on a plane during the swearing-in of President Johnson in the 20th century. He became president after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, under whom he had served as the 37th vice president from 1961 to 1963.
Well, once in a while they use my name, but for the most part, after the initial caption that I wrote myself in Dallas, I included my name as the photographer.
Additionally, one of the photos features an inscription from Jacqueline Kennedy expressing her appreciation to the photographer for capturing these moments.
10 days in Palm Beach. The president had a home down there, his father did, and the press would go and it would be the Winter White House in Palm Beach.
The final photo is a picture of President Johnson taken in office at the White House, accompanied by his signature. Given the historical significance of these photos, they are expected to hold considerable value.
Any significant value. So together, I would put the value for insurance at $75,000.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This antique television brings back memories from the golden age of computers. This item is a Toshiba LCD flat-screen television, reminiscent of the first editions of its kind. The guest acquired them from an electronics store.
What did you pay for it originally?
And I would ballpark it probably around $500 or $600 at the time.
The item was manufactured and released for distribution in 2008 by the electronics manufacturing company, Toshiba. The TV falls within the 30 to 33 inch range, making it suitable for smaller living spaces like bedrooms or small living rooms. The televisions produced similarly offer a slimmer profile and better picture quality compared to the older CRT TVs. Closely looking at the item, we can see that it probably supports a resolution of 720p or 1080p, which was standard at that time. Unlike rare prototype products, this television is common, which significantly affects its value. The TV shows some signs of wear, but it is in good condition considering its age. Reflecting its age and the widespread availability of more advanced models, this television, at auction, should sell for.
So in terms of value, realistically, with all the stuff we mentioned, we're probably looking at maybe $100.
$100?
The guest presented some keepsakes from the legendary Fred Rogers.
He and I matriculated at Rollins College in Winter Park together. We started in 1947 and we graduated in 1951.
Fred Rogers was more than just a beloved television personality. He was a beacon of kindness, compassion, and understanding in a world that often seemed too harsh and unforgiving. With his gentle smile, soothing voice, and iconic red cardigan, he welcomed generations of children into his neighborhood, a place where they felt seen, heard, and valued. Fred Rogers personally signed these original manuscripts from his senior recital.
So I wrote to his wife and said, could you possibly look at it and tell me whether or not it's Fred's? Right. Which of course I knew, but then, you have to have somebody authenticate it.
Through his groundbreaking show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he tackled complex issues like racism, war, and disability with simplicity, honesty, and sensitivity.
And when he first started Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, they didn't have enough money for him to have a cast. He did all those impersonations himself.
He showed us that everyone deserves love, respect, and empathy, regardless of their background or abilities. At the forefront of this collection is this letter, valued at
insurance value, about $150 on that.
Regarding the original manuscripts, both are valued at.
Put a value of $300 to $500 for insurance purposes.
Fine, that's great.
This Hamilton Model 21 chronometer originally belonged to the guest's great-grandfather. It was later passed down to the guest's wife, an Army Marine deck officer, who found it fitting for her profession. The chronometer is known for its precision and was crucial for navigation, especially determining longitude. During World War II, the Naval Observatory recognized the need for such accurate timepieces, and
they approached a number of the American watch manufacturers. Hamilton designed this one, and they designed it in such a way that they could mass produce it.
By 1944, Hamilton was producing 500 of these chronometers per month.
At the end of the war, they had supplied almost 11,000 examples of this particular model, 21.
This particular example, likely from the 1950s or 60s, comes with its original mahogany box and a gimbal for stability on ships. Its inner workings are finely crafted, with gilded gears that still look brand new. Showcasing the exquisite craftsmanship of the Hamilton Model 21, in today's market, this well-preserved chronometer could fetch at
around the neighborhood of $1,500 for it. This is something that you could still sail with today. If you knew how to do those calculations, you would get to where you were going.
Our guest introduces a pocket watch that has been passed down through 3 generations in their family, starting with their husband's great-grandfather, a heroic gold miner who worked in the Black Hills in the late 1800s. The appraiser identifies the watch as a beautiful American-made piece. This watch, made around 1890, is a box hinge hunting case model, a typical American form known for its extra metal at the top and bottom, providing additional weight and durability. The appraiser highlights the exceptional gold quartz chain and fob, which were highly desirable after the gold rush, especially in mining areas like Klondike, California, and the Homestake Mine, near where the guest's great-grandfather worked. The watch case features multicolored gold decoration and a diamond, marking it as the highest grade case available at the time, making it a very generous presentation gift.
This was basically the highest grade case that you could buy, and as a presentation watch, which this was, whoever presented it to your ancestor was really very, very generous.
Our guest shares that the watch was appraised a year ago, with offers ranging from $2,500 to $5,000.
A few weeks later, they upped it to $5,000, but it is to stay in the family.
The appraiser commends the watch's pristine condition and rich history, particularly its connection to the well-known Homestake Mine in South Dakota. Given its exceptional craftsmanship and historical significance, the appraiser suggests insuring the watch for
Something that you should insure for perhaps maybe $15,000 to $20,000, simply because it's one of the nicest gold quartz chains and multicolor box hinge hunter case watches we've ever seen.
Well, it's like Christmas in July with me.